the Reston Community Center Board of Governors meeting for June 6, 2016. My word. The first order of business is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business, approval of the minutes from the May 2nd
So
meeting.
moved.
Second. Been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next, approval of the May 2nd board actions.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is the chair's remarks, and I don't have a lot because I don't have a lot of voice. I'm still dealing with the flu. The only thing, my only thing that I wanted to say was Father's Day. For some, make sure that you all remember your fathers. I'm having the most fun watching my son-in-law with my little baby, because the minute he walks in, she just lights up like a light bulb. Next order of business is introduction of the visitors, and we have some. You're always happy when you get some.
We are here from Troop 673 to get our communication merit badge signed off. I'm Jameson Long, and I'm Jace Walton.
On cue.
Just stand the whole meeting if you want.
That's great.
We'll be able to.
Is there any other input from the parents?
I'm here to support them.
Very good. That's awesome. That's great. Next order of business is the June 6th Finance Committee report.
So we met earlier at 7 o'clock before this meeting, and we discussed that there will be a $300,000 revenue shortfall, mainly a third of it due to taxes and 2/3 to the program. The good news on that is the 2/3 to the program portion of the underestimation is that can be offset by direct cost. So that will be a huge problem. We're still going to look at, regardless of looking at the return to the fund, around between $475,000 and $500,000. Other than that, in terms of the revenue side, touring professional series was very good. The team family is still showing some struggling, and that's going to be looked at in the future. On terms of the expense side, on personnel, things are pretty stable. There are going to be 2 full-time positions that will be vacant, and I'll probably maintain for a minute or two while those positions are strategized. Even further, operating cost, they're closing out FY16 expenditures now, and so they're still looking at some anticipation of $200,000 to $300,000 in savings there. And in terms of capital expenses for this part on the April side, that looks pretty stable. And that was it. Well, and in addition, we had a robust conversation about the PowerPoint slides that we'll be presenting on June 20th to the public, outlining our ideas on FY18.
Thank you, Gerald. Next order of business is the approval of the finance report. Second. It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is the board member input on activities attended since we left. And we'll start with Mr. Keith.
Well, let's see here. Raj Chast, wonderful.
Oh,
I think we had a full house that night or close to it. And it was funny from beginning to end, poignant at the same time. Reduced Shakespeare, as always, fun, great atmosphere. Went to Arena the next night. It was very depressing. So thanks, it was a stark contrast.
Disgrace.
Disgraced.
Yeah. that's sort of-
Whoa. See it, but takes about 3 days to kind of get me on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, want to mention South Lakes High School athletics, short of RCC activities. South Lakes High School athletics is the best part of it. Track meet, regional track meet was wonderful. The lacrosse team is doing very, very well. They're in a semi-final game at the high school, so a bunch of other things that go on. So it's nice to see the high school turning a corner
Yeah.
and having not only academically solid for years, but now the athletic programs starting.
We do Shakespeare, lots of I-Park meetings, even more Park Authority board meetings, getting ready for the 2016 bond, which is going to be $107 million wisely spent, if approved by the voters. And we've got a very familiar face leading our green team effort this year, Mr. Zavala. We'll be chairing up the green team this year, heading the citizens effort to support the park.
It's a done deal, man.
I can tell you, you don't want to be
And that's it.
I want to be the first person to have fun.
No pressure.
So clearly a couple park authority meetings, along with I-Park meetings, in addition to Northern Virginia Arts Festival receptions, very good. I think the Ross Chast, that was great. I think back to the finance committee, when we're talking about we're up to capacity, it was the whole program just had a nice variety of different choices. It was just high quality. And I thought that was kind of fun. Look at a little bit of slide, a little bit of talk about the book, and it was not what I expected. It was great.
Like you didn't expect it to be great?
The one lesson learned, of course, is that there are a lot of readers in Reston of New York.
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
yes. Sponsor discussion group on that,
Right.
program.
There you go.
I was also at Rochester, and I expected to enjoy it, and I did. And reduced Shakespeare, and I a little shout out to Bill Parker, because we made some last minute changes on Friday because they said there was a lot of availability, and we grabbed some friends to go, and he was just great working with me with tickets and so forth. So big shout out to him for that. Arts Festival in the rain, and another shout out to the staff, because there were 3 staff members there in the booth, being good troopers on such a sad weather day. And then the other thing that's not directly related to RCC, but we held our annual lake swim, had 600 swimmers in Lake Audubon. Went smoothly, knock on wood. So, still sort of recovering from all of that.
Oh, well, I have a few things too. I went to Ross Chaz. I wasn't expecting what I saw, and I think I was the only one in the audience who's not a New Yorker reader. Every doctor's office I go, it's there, but I feel like, oh, this is too intense. I read the cartoons, so but that was sorry. I really enjoyed that. I'm no literate. No, I'm joking. I really enjoyed that. I also, the Arts Festival was quite nice. And then I didn't go the whole day Saturday, but I went party. It was raining, but there were a lot of people out there. The artists were protecting their wares, and there were a lot of people popping in and out. But it was a sad day. So it was really tough. I also did something over the weekend. Nova Labs. We do the mini makers here. I've never been able to go that some away, but Mary Beth from teaches some classes who invited me to go, so I went, walked in. If you haven't been over there, it's at Isaac Newton Square, 1916. I recommend you go there. I was totally shocked about what they do and all these things, and they wanted to have some input from the community. For those of us who are not, or for those of us who are technically challenged in some ways, what it's like and what the lab's all about, and I learned quite a bit. And they were very thankful for what RCC does there. So I recommend you get over there and get a chance to see things where they have a whole 3D printer. There are people in there working on making drones, and it was just very exciting. There were a lot of I know. Hey, the people who make it, but there were also a couple of women in there. So I was like, kudos to that, because I walked in first. I saw it looked like for me, the typical tech place with some young 20-somethings doing some stuff, and there was a couple of women that started walking. So yeah, and that was my which is really get all the kids, and they got a lot here, so it was very important.
Mary Beth leads a robotics team of girls.
Yes, and she
over
showed,
there,
she had pictures
and
of them.
it's just fantastic what she does. She's very inspiring to them. she's brought them to, we give her, her girls comp tickets, and she's come to several of the performing arts series performances with them as a group. And they came as a group with her to see Anna DeVere Smith, and then they got to talk to her afterwards. Just really great.
I was very impressed, you know, like all the treasures we have right here in Reston, and you didn't even know about, there were people came from other places too, they said this is a really big deal, and the more it was found out, so I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Something totally off kilter too, like, not a lake swim, but the mini triathlon, sprint triathlon, I did it yesterday. Second place, my category, I'm getting old and it's hard to compete, the person who beat me was 18 years my junior, and I'm sure she hasn't had children, so. My time from last year beat her time, so I got a little slower. I'm getting slower, so but it was a fun race. It was a nice day, and it's a really good community event. There are people from all over. It was to raise money for Cornerstone, and this year they raised $30,000. It was really kind of 30,000 plus. Oh, sorry. Also, I'm also getting involved a little bit. Well, I'm on the board for Reston Historic Trust, and I'm in the process of maybe getting some volunteers for them to turn the hours. Yeah, family.
Attended some historic trust meetings. Roz Chastain was great. Big fan of hers. And I love the variety of offerings that the center stage offers. If there's something there for everybody and for every taste and interest.
Except for rock and roll.
Perfect series.
It's too small a room for rock.
You need those big speakers, right?
And as a regular user of the dog park, I would like to give a shout out for that wonderful facility that is really a community building. All the dog people meet at certain times when they have dogs that are friendly to each other. And, you know, there's a whole community interaction that goes on there that I didn't know existed. I became a part of it, and it's a great addition to the rest of the community. So.
Is that directed to somebody?
Eye contact.
So I did my chats. I David, the only one here who went to see the dancer earlier in the month. It was you. That's right.
You know, sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
In month comments.
I don't even remember her name.
National.
Yeah.
And then some P&Z meetings, and I did not do a triathlon. Or any triathlon.
All those who did not do it. You guys don't have as much ability as I do.
We had our outdoor racquetball tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
$100.
Okay, then I had the Fine Arts Festival opening night event, and then I went on Saturday to the actual show. And in spite of the rain, my wife spoke to a lot of artists, and actually did pretty well because the people who come to buy still come.
Yeah.
So just a throng to make it more lively through the
Okay.
stage. So from a financial point of view, the artists was still pleased.
Okay, good.
And soccer season is about to wrap up. It's wrapped up for me because I'll be away for the next 2 weeks, and the games will end the next 2 weeks. And next season, full of challenges. We get through it. Find out the girls, I should have known this, but the girls are much more cliquey than boys. We had a group of recent immigrants joined as a block, a team, and they just didn't put that in. They decided to pack it. They just didn't let us behave. They just didn't have to do it.
Fire the coach.
Fire the
The
coach.
coach is actually away for the game where they misbehaved.
Starts at the
That was a problem.
Madam Chair, in light of some of the cuts in the Reston pools, I would like to advertise that we did do a $5.5 million addition at the water line located in Reston, and people were certainly invited to go out and enjoy the expanded water line.
What did people want me to ask? I know it's in the paper. What did they have?
Oh, three huge.
Oh,
huge,
sure.
fast,
You missed the picture of Phil
faster,
falling down.
and fastest. Right.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you came?
So please go out, enjoy the slides.
I also went to the dance event, Rod's Jazz. On the 16th, the Reston Community Orchestra had its youth concert. If you haven't heard my orchestra lately, you should come to hear them. We have some new players, and Bob would be really happy because Bob was so worried that only older people were playing and/or in the audience. But we have a group of young people. It's just fantastic. The sound is amazing. So we did a lot of Star Wars music at that concert. We had a juggler, and some of the dancers from the Conservatory Ballet came over and did a can for us. And some of you are not old enough, definitely not, to remember, but one of the things that the juggler did was the plate things. Did anybody remember the Ed Sullivan Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. He rode a unicycle, all in the community room. It was fantastic. And, yeah, with my husband, yeah, they played the accompanying, whatever music. I did a performance with a Shakespeare event happening at the Harmon. Went to the Northern Virginia Fine Arts Festival reception, and then ran over here to Reduce Shakespeare. I also attended the Stage Guild, had its 30th anniversary. They've been around forever, and they do very esoteric things like, what is it, the husband, I can't think of the name of it, but they do a lot of pieces that are not done.
Husbands are esoteric.
It's very esoteric, yes. They do. Why can't I think of the name of the husband? And Dingwall Fleary, who is the conductor for the Reston Community Orchestra for over 20 years. On Saturday night, I went to the concert at the McLean Symphony, and it was the end of his 44th year with them. He started that group 44 years ago. Okay, next order of business is the Executive Director's report.
The report is here, and you can read it. I won't take you through everything. We have achieved the credit card processing solution. That's the good news. The bad news is that we still want to do some more testing on the software upgrade that was necessary to achieve for. So that defers our deployment date somewhat. So we're gonna have to work out the timing of that software upgrade to be sure that it works. Because we've had experience the other way, and it's not pretty. I wanted to note that Brian Gannon has just finished a 4-year term in charge of the Leadership Institute Committee for the Virginia Recreation and Park Society Leadership Training Institute, and that was something he was very proud of and something he contributed a great deal of time to. Joe Leary taught the area AFO course for National Recreation and Parks Association. That's the Aquatics Facility Operator Program. And both Brian and Fred attended that, so they could be even more familiar with pool facility requirements. Leisure and Learning, that unit had a very successful month, the month of May. As you know, we've moved into Langston Hughes Middle School with after-school programming. We put on and host the end of the year party there, and this year that event drew more than 500 kids to it. We provided a DJ and a really huge, massive inflatable obstacle course that the kids had a lot of fun with. The Creative Aging Festival that started last year, that inspired Karen to work with Reston Association to put on, they've always had an Older Americans Month, May is Older Americans Month, and they've always had, you know, some sort of expo event here for that occasion, and this year they focused on leisure and learning and creativity in terms of the exhibitors, and that was very successful. We had about 150 seniors attend that event. There's a new fitness offering, Pilates for osteoporosis, that filled the first time out, and very happy students with that. We had a family trip to White Oak Canyon that had participants who ranged in age from 9 to 72 who went on that 6-mile hike. And our good neighbors in the woodworking shop took toys to Laurel Learning Center this past month. I talked earlier this evening about the Professional Touring Artist Series. The May events closed out this year's season. We had a very, very good year. We filled to 68% of capacity overall for the season, and that exceeds our target. And we greatly exceeded our revenue target, so we're very happy about that. That booth at the Northern Virginia Fine Arts Festival, we used the new logo for the Reston Marketing Initiative, and kids could come and color and create their own version of Reston off of the elements of that logo, and they had a great time there doing that. And I was busy in May.
No, really.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Any more business?
So I wanted to accomplish a couple things under old business tonight. The first was that I circulated what I hope is the final draft of the strategic plan, and got some input and feedback from you. I added some language per Bill Penniman's suggestion on page 4. Under the building community, this is in the methodology section of the plan, that identifies the outcomes in number 1 as participation in RCC programs and services by the community, particularly businesses/employees, is increased. So that's the change there. And then I received a suggestion from Phoebe Wynn, who wanted to look at item 1 in the branding and messaging focus area, and change that to communication platforms expand and feature new inclusion strategies such as use of non-English language formats rather than just employ multiple language, to give us room in case, who knows, what apps and what new things are going to come along in the rapidly changing communication world. And most of the other input I got was that you're comfortable with this. So if this is, I hope, the last version of the strategic plan, and then my next step will be to ask for Kristen's help in making it look attractive and get it published for the annual public hearing in a couple of weeks. Any other inputs or edits? Speak now or
Eat one lunch.
I did put in per our last conversation about this, I did adopt a way for people to walk through it using letters and Roman numerals, because those seem like a softer approach, but it did help. It certainly helped for people to be able to identify where they wanted to edit. Yes, that was a good suggestion. And then I think maybe actually you should move to adopt this strategic plan. You could either do that tonight, or you could wait and see if there's any input at the public hearing and do it at the public hearing date, June 20th, whichever you prefer.
Move adoption tonight.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thanks, Nick.
There you go.
Thank you.
Takes care of that.
And the last old business item, I wanted to just brief you on I did attend the monthly meeting, the May monthly meeting for the discussion of the lake house. And it was a really interesting meeting, and the Lake House Working Group presented their ideas, not so much for programming as for how they might envision the exterior of that property to look. And it was pretty extensive. The other issue, of course, that was discussed was the cost overrun in their construction budget. And that, as you can imagine, provoked some conversation. I did ask, per your request, I asked for RA's leadership to visit with us, and that was counter-proposed with the idea of having the two boards meet jointly to talk about programming and whatever other issues might surface, but primarily to discuss programming that the two organizations pursue. And the date that was suggested for that was Thursday, July 21st. The calendar date that we proposed for the staff conversation of June 13th was rejected. And the counteroffer is to have a joint meeting on July 21st. So if you think that you would like to, pursue, I believe it's going to be a little unwieldy, but I don't have any other structure to offer at this point because they're eager, the board is eager to meet with all of you.
I mean, is there a planned agenda?
That's what I was
Just a
gonna say, without a
conversation?
specific agenda, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, the item that we proposed to discuss with the staff leadership was programming and where our programs diverge and should continue to serve different needs of the community, and where, if there is overlap, what the implications of that are, and how we can continue to plan effectively so that our programming isn't duplicative or competitive, and I think that's a big topic.
Wouldn't we be better served by our staff giving us a report? I mean, the whole purpose of our February and March meetings are to get this kind of input. So we're a little behind the curve at this point.
I think we need staff analysis.
I do
Kinda
too.
hone in on where the commonalities exist and where they don't.
Where they
Otherwise,
don't.
we're just gonna wing it.
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly prepare that. We had talked in our senior staff meeting about doing a list of the partnered programs that we do with RA and an inventory of the programs we do on RA sites and the programs that we offer in general categories. And then I can certainly ask the RA team to prepare the same thing. We could exchange that in the meeting, or we could exchange it in advance,
I think the issue is,
Go ahead.
I think the issue is the concern about existing duplicative programs and future duplicative programs. That's our, we have two hat, we have one hat saying that we are responsible for RCC, we're not responsible for RA. As an RA member paying dues, I have lots of concerns which I can express to that forum. I spent the next 2 hours expressing them too, but I don't think you've got 2 hours showing off tape to do that. So we'll leave that off the table right now. But I think what would be beneficial is to lay out, because I don't want to go through, I'm sure I could do this with lots of time on my hands, go through and compare all your programs and draw up an Excel spreadsheet and try to match these things together. But I think people who do this for a living know this already. They can give us a report and say, these appear to be areas where we cross. And it may be unintentional. I think but my concern is they've got lots of pressure to generate revenues. They're way behind revenue. They've got lots of issues that they're going to be trying to stretch even further into getting revenues. And as they cross that line, it's going to be may not further encroach into what we do, which is my concern. As a dues pay member, I have a concern about encroaching into areas which shouldn't be what a homeowner association should be, and that's another topic. So the discussion here is, if we, let's say a bad example, if we offer childcare, and they offer childcare, then we should say, well, why are we both offering this? What's the cost to our
It's the
members?
demand
It's
there.
the demand, etc. And it's nothing more, we're not trying to invent a new cure for cancer, we're just trying to lay out some simple things. And I think as a public entity, we have rules that we have to follow as a public entity. So I think any meeting we have has to be under our rules, because we can't have a meeting,
Exactly.
we can't have a meeting
With more than
their
three of
rules
us, that's not an official public meeting.
So I don't have to understand that, because it doesn't say that this is not rocket science.
I agree. Obviously, with RA and RCC, we both play an important role in the community and should be communicating, I know at the staff level and at many individual board member levels, people do have that communication. So a meeting is more than just a general conversation. I think it'd be helpful to know the staff. If the issue is overlap, all right, let's know in advance what it is, and then we can have a more precise conversation. If it's something else that RA has in mind, I'd like to know what else it is, and then think about that.
I think if we think about Park and Recreation Services as a whole, and all the public, we have 3 public entities basically that are taxing entities, not an assessment. Assessing, but it's not a voluntary, I mean, it's, you have to pay. So if we were, one park and recreation, what are the strengths of each entity, and what do they bring to the table that is their strength and that offers the best service to the community as a whole? I think we have to continue to have that mentality. We have leaped forward in that regard with the partnerships that we have and so forth. But we need a next leap in terms of, thinking about overall, what's the best offerings that we can give to the membership, with each entity providing what is best in doing.
Yeah, and if there's overlap, sometimes that's okay.
If the demand is there.
Yeah,
If the
demand
demand
is there, sure.
And it's a long time here, it's about a strategic conversation, that's okay for the board to discuss. If it's just about programs, no organization wants the board to get programs, right? And on that level of detail, right? Other than for us to know, okay, if there's overlap, also which programs have higher margins, or we feel fair or
What
strengths.
is the community demand?
And what's
But we can't ascertain that through the stats?
Well, sure, and I'd be happy to do some analysis for all of you of what, just from a comparative perspective, where there are duplications or potential for duplication, and what the demand issues are in those landscapes, in those zones. And then, if based on that, you think it's worth having a conversation at the strategic level, board to board, then we can pursue that. If after we actually look at that, there doesn't seem to be, significant zones of issues or concerns, then I don't know what we would be meeting to talk about.
But like John said, we're a public body. And in order for us to have a conversation, it needs to be under the guise of being the body politic here. In addition to that, what I would do is I would send them over, we just adopted a strategic plan. We should send them as much information on where we stand, because we've got most of that already fettered out. So send them a copy of the strategic plan. give them a position, and then have the staffs evaluate based on our strategic plan and the public meeting on the 20th as far as the direction we're headed.
How
Go
much
from there.
notice do we have to give to you?
3 days.
Three.
Oh,
3 days.
Okay.
Obviously, we're happy to talk to anybody. Anybody can come here and talk in the public setting, but.
Right.
But if we're having an organized meeting, like, no more what it's about, and be prepared
Yeah.
and
Sure,
focused.
sure.
Well, I think what Vicki laid out is a good way to approach it, to speak to the strengths. And some of the end purpose might really just to be setting tone, because we want to, we build partnerships and cooperate, but also we're concerned. And that second part of the message may be, maybe we have a meeting and that's really the main thing. It's that we're ready to be hands-on if we need to be. We are concerned. And we see these as our strengths, but we're gonna hold on to our strengths. It's not a big, huge agenda, but it could still be quite purposeful. And I think worth time, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, why don't I then draft a response to the invitation, and I'll circulate it to all of you, and you can wordsmith it. And
Where's the invitation? Where's the invitation from?
the invitation was from Kate with copied to her whole board with the proposed date. And not an agenda, and so
You leave it in your capable hands, Mr. Director.
Yes.
All
I
right,
won't be
right.
there, by the way.
But when you
You doesn't know what money is.
July 21st.
if you just put a hold on your calendars for July 21st, just in case, until we see whether it's a good idea or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Have we beaten this horse?
Well,
Okay.
Okay.
that's it for me.
I did
for
listen, I
all
did
this.
watch the part of the video that they had just online, and then I read multiple times all the comments, and I still, as a newspaper member, don't understand what caused it. I understand people took responsibility and the bad budget, etc., but no one explained why it went wrong. I'm still waiting to hear
It's not
why it
over.
went wrong, other than budgets are there to be broken. So,
It's not there, it's not over.
of course it's not.
Well,
It's sad. It's just
I've
sad.
got a solution.
all right, okay. And now new
Wings
business.
walk?
And now, is there any new business?
No.
Excuse me,
Wait,
this is a senior moment. Did we ever approve the finance committee report and our resolution?
Yes,
Yes,
you
we
did.
did.
You did have a senior moment.
I voted for it.
Senior
It was one of those fat, I might even have seconded it.
You made one big bill.
Okay,
This
motion
one,
to
supposed to be the bill.
Vicky?
Dick,
Okay. Never mind. Is there anything else?
move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting, we thank you very much for coming, and we hope you learned something.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the meeting is adjourned.